Writing task one, combination. Okay, so a combination here we can see. No, first we have to review writing the introduction, which is very easy. Then the overview, grouping of information, writing about a paragraph, words and phrases to make comparisons and describing trends and movements, and conversion of percentage to fractions. Okay, so here the combination that we are going to study today is a combination of a bar graph and a pie chart. Okay, so in here, as you can see in this graph, this is a the topic of this graph is the water consumption in Australia. Okay, in 5 different cities. So the city of Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Canberra. And this record has been was done last year. And in here, the measurement is about kiloliter per property. And this is the average annual water consumption in Australia. All right. So from here, from 0 kiloliter to 350 kiloliter per property. All right. Per year. All right. So per year. And if you look at the pie chart, this one shows about the water consumption distribution in 2014. So how is the water being distributed? So again, the bar graph again shows here about consumption. So use of water in every household. So your synonym there for consumption is use of water for every home or for every household. Okay. This is that's a synonym for the word consumption. In here this is different. Okay, but they are related. Okay, it's still about water consumption, but how the water, okay, how the water is distributed in Australia. All right, in what areas, what sectors has this water been distributed in different areas? So we have here the area in agriculture, mining, households, water supply, manufacturing, electricity, gas supply, and other industries. Now in here, for agriculture, you can also change this one to farming. All right, so it changes to synonym farming to try to avoid again copying. If you can change it to synonyms, yes, we can change, but there are words we cannot change. For example, names of the country, don't change them to synonyms. Household, use at home. Manufacturing industries, I think we're gonna change them, and some of these cannot be changed. Now moving on, let's check here, review our writing of introduction. Okay, I think it's easy. So I think you have memorized the way in which we give the introduction. Okay, so we have memorized the useful words and phrases to talk or to write our introduction. So we have the starting, the graph, the purpose, time, and measurement. So that's the sequence, and you just have to replace the verbs with other verbs. Okay, and replace the descriptions with other descriptions too. Okay, because we are not allowed to copy, okay, what's in the topics. Next, let's check here the example introduction. Okay, so the bar chart gives information about the average yearly consumption of water in selected cities in Australia. All right, so we first present the bar chart, so don't combine. While the pie chart illustrates the proportion of water distributed to other areas. Okay, other areas. All right, and the data is collected last year and the quantity is measured in kiloliter per household. Okay, so we can say the data is collected last year. Okay, because this is the data. All right, the study, for example. Okay, now for the overview, we have learned that in the overview we have to write the trend, exception, and relationship. So in my writing comments, I sent you there that one lacking of your overview is either an exception or relationship. So don't just try to write the trend, but also write the exception or relationship. So in this example overview, our let's check here the trend. The trend here, it means group with the same pattern, The question here is, do most households in Australia use a large volume of water? So do they use large volume of water? So if you can check here, the answer is yes. Okay, answer is yes. All right. How about relationship? How the graph is related to the other graph or to the task? So the question here is, has this large of volume of water used in Australia's household matched the volume of water distributed to agriculture? Has this matched? So as you can see, the amount of water distributed to household was only 9% in comparison to 67% of water which is distributed to farming. So therefore, it doesn't match, all right? The distribution of water to household, although they consume a lot, but the distribution to household didn't actually match to the amount of water spent in agriculture. So which is why our overview here, it says, overall, despite the large volume of water spent in Australian households, its proportion did not match the amount allocated to agriculture. Okay, so there is a relationship. Okay, so relationship here, you have to find how are they related. You can also make comparison. Okay, based on our recent rationalization of our answer, we use comparison as relationship. All right. Okay, and then grouping of information. So body paragraph 1, do the two graphs have the same category? The answer is no, because the other one, because in here this is Australian water consumption to households, right? And this one is about distribution of water to different area. So they don't have the same category. Okay, so category means like topic. This is about distribution to household, water distributed to household only, consumption to household, and this is water distributed to different areas. So basically they don't have the same topic, or they don't have the same category. That is why this is our body paragraph 1 and this is our body paragraph 2. But if they have the same category, for example, bar graph and pie chart has the same category. For example, we talk about population. Yes, population only. All right. So probably we can combine them. We can combine the grouping of information. But in here, since they are like totally different, all right, totally different, because this one only focus on household, but this one is focused a lot. Okay. So that is why we put this in body paragraph 1 and this one in body paragraph, pie chart in body paragraph 2. Okay. So let's review before we have a short break. All right. So let's review here how to write body paragraph. All right. So to review, please don't forget that your body paragraph should have general comparison in your first sentence. Okay, don't forget that. All right. So I've checked your essays, and yes, you have maintained that first sentence general comparison, and second to the last sentence says details. Okay. So first sentence general comparison. In here, there is no detail. All right. So it says here in the first sentence that regarding the volume of water used in some Australian cities, the average amount consumed vary in every city. So there is no figure. And then let's go into details. All right, and the details here, we focus on the how we use the complex sentences. All right, so the details here has description. So we describe, we give the figure. So description, we give the figure. Comparison, we use comparison. We studied comparison in our previous lesson, so I think you have learned them, so try to use them. Okay, so describe and compare in body paragraphs. Okay, second example. Yeah, so here to have a look, it says here vary in every city. So why vary? Because this one is this amount, Perth has different amount, Adelaide has different amount, Brisbane has different amounts, Melbourne, Canberra, they have different amount of water used. That is why amount consumed vary in every city. All right, so that's the general comparison. And then we move on to detail. Okay, let's check the second body paragraph. And I'd like Tran. Tran, can you read the first sentence, Tran?
Mm, Turning to the distribution of water supply to different sections, farming receives most of water resource.
Right, so farming received most of the water resource. So as you can see here, there's no figure. Okay, always learn this one. Okay, so first sentence is general comparison. No figure, no numbers, just compare. All right, it can be a sentence or a phrase. It doesn't matter, but it should begin with general comparison. Then we have description, comparison, and exception. So we have description, describe. This accounts to nearly 7 in 10. So you have to memorize the conversion of a changing percentage to fraction. Okay, remember to memorize them. Okay, and this is comparison between sentences. All right, while other places, including households, got less than a tenth. A tenth. Oh, let's see. Let's see if you remember. Okay, and what is 7 in 10 if you remember?
What
What
is 70?
7 and 10, yeah, if you remember. Let's check. I'm gonna give you a surprise question, okay, in every practice, just to check if you remember the vocabs, because I really ask you to remember them. 7 and 10. What is 7 and 10? How much is 7 and 10? How much percent?
70%.
70%. Very good. Okay. I'm gonna give you surprise questions, right? Every lesson. Tran, what is a tenth?
What?
What is a tenth? A tenth.
A tenth?
Uh-huh.
What? What do you say?
What percentage is a tenth?
A tenth. I think
Remember?
10%.
10%. Yeah, very good. Okay. Yeah, 10%. How about 2%? How can we convert this to fraction if you remember? 5%. How about less than 5%? What is 5%? And then less than 5%. Ang. Okay, I'm gonna ask Ang, okay? What is 5% and less than 5%? Less than 5% is 2%, right? So what is less than 5%?
You mean 5% or less than?
Less than 5%. Convert that to fraction. Okay. I'm gonna give you quick question every meeting, okay?
Less
If you
than 1 in
remember.
20?
Oh, less than 1 in 20. Very good. You memorize, huh? Good job. I like that, okay? So I'm gonna ask you surprise questions every meeting, okay? Just to check if you remember the vocabs, okay? Even the grammar. For example, here, while is actually within sentences, comparison within sentences, okay? Yes, very good. So we use all the vocabs you have learned, okay, and put them and select them more carefully to get a nice and smooth essay, okay? So a tenth of the total water supply with mining was supplied the minimum at only 2%, okay? That's perfect. So let's check the example body paragraph here and compare this to the pie chart. All right. So here, first sentence, general comparison. Turning to the distribution of water, water supply to different resource sectors, farming received most of the water resource. Okay, so we say we change agriculture to farming. All right, so farming received most of the water resource, and this accounts to nearly 7 in 10. So nearly 7 in 10, that's 67%. Well, other places, okay, including households, got less than a tenth. Okay, so less than a tenth, less than 10%, including households, got less than a tenth of the total water supply. With mining was supplied the minimum at only 2%. Okay, so you don't have to write everything. Okay, you have to group them carefully. All right, so we just have to say that again. This one, all right, this accounts to nearly 7 and 10. while other places, including households, other places, okay, including households, all right, got less than a tenth of the total water supply, all right, with mining or supply at the minimum at only 2%. So your essay is done. It's not too long, not too short, just enough, and it gives the right information. Okay, so that is all for discussion. I'd like you to review again the making comparisons, all of them between, within, similar, difference, number, figure, etc. Okay, so there are 8 of them, so memorize them. And then fractions, again, I constantly remind you of this, and you have to remember them. The what is that? Also the qualifiers. Okay, so how much when we say 75 to 85%? Yes, the qualifiers, try to remember them. All right, and after this, after our short break, we're gonna have guided practice, and we're gonna develop an essay, okay, based on the graph here. All right, so this graph is about reasons for education and how the cost of each subject, or how the cost of each course should be shared. Okay, so this will be our topic for the guided practice after our short break. Okay, so let's have first a 5-minute break. You can drink some water, do whatever you do at 5 minutes, and then be back after 5 minutes. Okay, so see you after 5 minutes.